Excuse me. Coffee burp. Ew. Hello and welcome to the Part-Time Gamers, the gaming podcast for people with full-time lives. I am Cyranex, clocking in with my good friend 9 of 12.
Hello there, how are you tonight?
Yep. Before we get too deep into this, Theo's been having a little bit of a rough patch lately. I won't get into details, but if anyone who listens to this and appreciates Theo's work in the show or whatever work you know of him doing, just give him a little bit of love. I'll give him a little bit of encouragement. He can use some right now. He's not here today. Hopefully he'll be back next week. But we're going to be gracious and give him as much time as he needs to sort things out. So hopefully we'll get him back next week, but we'll see. Anyways, I just wanted to mention that before we got too deep into this. So we're going to do a couple changes today. We got a little bit of feedback, so we're changing around a couple of segments. And
Needing a beer delivery?
I want a beer delivery. Can you come over here? Yeah. Anyway, we're going to be skipping our icebreaker. At the beginning of a little bit behind baseball, when we first started the show up, we wanted to have a little bit of a personality show through, and we were doing that through the icebreaker talk. Well, I think we're able to now do a lot of the personality through the regular talk and through the water cooler and talk and all that jazz. So we're going to be skipping the icebreaker from now on. So we're going to be jumping right into our water cooler talk.
You get that thing I sent you?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, September, what article did you bring for us today?
So, apparently Capcom wants to make all its old fighting games available again. I was excited to see this. I know a lot of people will be. We know Retro is really happy with all of our friends, but they're bringing it to modern consoles, apparently.
Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome. I've always had this fascination and this like of especially the Marvel vs. Capcom series. I think is one of the bigger titles that they've made. The last was Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, the most recent one, did not go over as well. I think primarily because of the monetization, how like characters were locked behind DLCs and stuff like that. But the game itself, I think, was actually pretty good.
Well, who doesn't want Street Fighter though, too, right?
True, yeah.
It's just it's such a day one remembered fighter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they're not.
But they have plans already.
Yeah.
Apparently, before the end of 2024, the Arcade Classics Fighting Collection, Marvel vs. Capcom, is going to be released on PlayStation, Switch, and Steam.
That's
and
nice.
The collection has like 6 classic fighting games as well as an arcade brawler.
Nice.
And then there's apparently SNK vs. Capcom SVC Chaos got a surprise release on Twitch and PS4 last month. I'm surprised I didn't hear about it.
Yeah. I haven't.
But that's published by like SNK, not Capcom.
Yeah. Yeah, they mentioned that, but it's worth noting that the game is published by SNK, not Capcom.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it is interesting that even though it's published by SNK, that they were still able to get it through into the Capcom collections.
Well, they have the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is on PS4 and Xbox One, so
But not
I think there's
Switch.
some kind
Yeah.
of still, juggling around who's doing what on which machines.
Yeah, I mean, and that's probably going to be the case with just the whole console wars and the different consoles. There's always going to be at least some of that at some point, just because of logistical reasons. But yeah, I mean, I like I said, I especially liked Marvel vs. Capcom. I played a bunch of those games, and sucked at literally every single one of them. I just like, I like the aesthetics. I like, being able to, like, my favorite, especially lately, my favorite. I have come to the realization that my favorite Marvel character in general is War Machine. Oh, because like the logic that I came up with is like, okay, what kind of power set do I like the most, and what kind of personality do I like the most? And I like the power set of Iron Man. I like the suits. I like that kind of stuff. Anything he's able to do. But I like more the personality of Captain America. So War Machine is kind of like right in the middle of those two, where he's the military man.
makes sense.
Yeah, he's the military man, but he's got the powers, like the power suit and everything of Iron Man. And he was in at least one of them. I know he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That was probably the one that I played the most. I don't remember if he was in later ones, though. I think they might have consolidated down after that. But yeah.
I don't keep track of how all
Yeah.
these brawlers are different from each other, at least, or these fighting games. It's funny, it just came up over the weekend. My son, a bunch of his friends went to some con, and it was for one of the Smash Brothers games, right?
Okay.
But like he didn't even want to go with them because that particular one he can't stand. And I'm like, I can't even wrap my brain around like that the nuances of how different they all are from each other, where they get bored because of you already know how everyone's going to play each character depending
Yeah.
on which one it is. Like, I don't know, Smash Brothers people are and other fighting games they're like that too. They're
Yeah.
very when it gets on competitive, which version is like all the difference in the world. So,
Yeah.
but I really respect this whole idea this guy from Capcom's got about like there's these games that haven't been available to people who didn't get to play them back in the day and the arcade ones, and kind of like keeping access. I'm
Yeah.
not finding the words for a lot of these things that we've seen these companies just let become unavailable forever.
Yeah. I'm all for like people bringing back stuff like this. A lot of these games deserve re-releases, deserve remakes even. But yeah, like going back to like some of the nuances of some of these fighting games, the one reason why I don't play, like I actually have one of the Marvel, like I think the second most, or like I think it's Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I actually have I own it on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the main reasons why I don't play it that much is because it is a very twitchy, combo-centric game. That's one of the reasons, like one of the fighting game series that I like the most is actually the Soul Calibur series, because it's much more about exchanges, hit and run tactics, figuring out the proper time and which level to block, trying to figure
Like
out how to
timing your energy and your blocks and stuff
Yeah.
instead of just combos.
Yeah, with Marvel versus Capcom, and I'm not sure about Street Fighter and a lot of the other games. I don't know what kind of mechanics they have in those, but at least in Marvel versus Capcom, most of the time you're just figuring out, okay, how can I get a combo that'll kill the target from 100 health to 0 in one just insanely long combo. And I can't stand that. It's like, to me, like even in a competitive sense, yeah, it's impressive that you're able to do that in a technical level, but that's not exciting to me, because then it's like whoever gets the first hit just wins. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not exciting to me personally. So if I was playing against someone who's like on my level, which is whatever, like if it's like a metal, like gold, silver, bronze, I would be on like the dirt level of skill in this. Like I can pull off some, like I can get my power gauge maxed out and then just hit you with every super move I can manage at the same time. And that's basically my tactics. It's like get like Iron Man, Cable, and Ryu in the same team. So they're just massive beams all across the screen.
I'm
But
a
anyway.
button masher. I'll admit it.
Oh, yeah.
It's fine.
And there's I was trying to remember what other, I think it was Virtual Fighter. I think it was Virtual Fighter. There was one character who had these. He was a kick specialist, so like a bunch of his moves, like more powerful combos and stuff, were just mashing the kick button over and over again, and then you would hit the other kick button over and over again and do the other side of the combo. This like I played as him and just mashed that the whole time, and got destroyed by people who actually knew how to play. But so regardless, I do think it's still a really good thing that they're bringing these games back, making them accessible again. Like the concept of making games inaccessible is just not fun. Like
Sad.
yeah, like
Like there's a history to it at
Yeah.
this point.
yeah, and like kind of a tangent on the same subject of bringing games back. Like John Jagger on Core mentioned that he was really a big fan of the Transformers games. It was a War for Cybertron and I think Fall of Cybertron were the two games in that series. And I played those when they came out on I think the original, I think it was Xbox 360. I played those and I really liked them. They were actually really solid games. And then they just disappeared. This I think the story goes that Activision just literally lost the files somewhere in their servers for these games. And there have been rumblings and rumors that now that Microsoft has acquired Activision, that there was actually like Steam sales pages for both of those games recently. They weren't available to buy yet. I mean, if you already had them on Steam before they were taken delisted, you can still play it, but that there's like new store pages for them, which is really exciting because I would really love to. Like those games are solid even today. Anyway,
Do you think bringing stuff back like this and making it available to work on modern consoles takes away from hobbyists that create emulators and rely on them? And I mean, because it's a very, like, I'm really always impressed with Dunaway's knowledge and
Yeah.
the whole community. It's a very large community. It has been for a long time, of people creating emulators to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like, man, what happens?
when it's officially re-released, you don't need it.
Yeah.
As much as I do think it would affect them to some degree. But at the same time, there's always going to be a certain level of nostalgia. I think for the retro factor of these games, I think it's going to be less about playing it on an emulator and more about playing it on the original console. That's going to be the retro aspect of it. Oh,
That's the thing. A lot of these, there are people who are refurbishing and old consoles and doing that, but there are people who are emulating those consoles on the computer. I mean, I guess it's just another level at that point to like,
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna put this on my PlayStation, and then I'm gonna play it on this emulator and see, how the processing speed is affected. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
that's,
just another level of nerd.
yeah. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, because I'm sure there's a lot of retro gamers that like the nostalgia, because these older games have a different feel to them, whether it's slower or just a different pacing, just because of the processors that they had back then, and how that translates into emulators
Or
now.
the
and
kind of
everything.
controllers they
Yeah.
had.
I mean, there's a lot of retro gamers that like that old feeling of games rather than really the game itself. Oh,
I don't miss getting Nintendo claws.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like I don't have that nostalgia pretty much at all. So it's like I would rather just be able to play the games in like the best modern quality that we can manage because I want to play the game regardless of like that's the important thing to me. I don't care what it's on. I usually just want to play the game. So for me it's a non-factor. I would like to have the updated optimization and all that jazz. that's just me, but I can understand retro gamers, especially like really wanting the feel of the old games. Just kind of bring back that nostalgia, like bring back that feeling of like I'm 12 years old sitting on my couch in the living room with a TV the size of like this big, playing these old games. I can understand that level of nostalgia. I just don't experience it myself.
So, what have you got for us this week, Sean?
Not necessarily. Well, like, it's not
Our
technically a
nerdies.
layoff. But
Ah,
so I remember this was, and this affects also the website as well. But Game Informer, this is the longest running U.S. gaming magazine, has shut down after 33 years.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's a pretty big one. I remember getting Game Informers and stuff like that. Getting the magazines and looking through them, finding the stuff on them. And it's like, there was actually one of the rotation of news websites I would look through for news for the show, was Game Informer as well. And, unfortunately
Although it was really, really mostly just a lot of ads for a while.
I mean, that's magazines in general, which I feel like is the reason why they've kind of fallen apart lately. So, but I mean, they did have
this
a
does not
website.
bode well
Yeah,
for GameStop.
yeah. I mean, well, I'm going to be honest. I'm surprised GameStop is still a thing.
They've they've really pivoted to merch, and kind of the only thing I go there for anymore. But
Yeah, I don't think
I had a membership for years, and I really
Yeah.
liked getting the magazine with it, but it's not
But
worth
yeah.
having a membership there anymore. So,
yeah. And,
well, unless you break controllers a lot, I will say, getting refurbed controllers there and the discount you get there is really nice.
Yeah.
If you're a member.
yeah. I mean, I literally have a GameStop within walking distance of me. Oh, and I haven't stepped foot in a GameStop in probably over a decade. Oh, I mean, most of the time now, my loyalty when it comes to a lot of these things, like I don't buy physical games anymore. Oh,
Yeah.
I remember. I think the last time there used to be a Blockbuster in the same shopping center, same strip mall, and they would occasionally have midnight openings for certain notable games. Like I know they had one for, I think the GameStop had a midnight opening for, Skyrim. I think that might have been the last time I was in a GameStop, honestly, was for that midnight opening for Skyrim. Oh, but yeah, I remember going to midnight opening at Blockbuster for, I think Halo 2 at the time. And then I think another time for Halo ODST back in the 360 days. Oh, so I gotta say, I'm not, even though the longevity of this magazine and everything is impressive, I'm honestly not surprised. Just
I feel
because,
a little bad.
yeah, I mean, I do too.
For
but-
only less than $20 a year, it was really nice to get.
yeah, but I mean, again, it doesn't really surprise me. Just
Yeah,
because,
I mean, print's going by the wayside the same way
yeah,
physical games are. Oh,
I mean, yeah, but
layoffs
it
suck.
does.
You said it
yeah.
wasn't layoffs. Yes, it is.
Well, technically, I mean, it's just they're shutting down the whole thing. So, but
Great. They just
I
laid
know
off
it's
the whole
semantics,
staff.
but yeah, it sucks. Again, people losing their jobs always just sucks. But I'm honestly not surprised by this. Just because, again, we're in an age where magazines and physical media in general is becoming more niche. Whereas like I don't get physical media in general anymore. Like most of the stuff that I watch is on streaming, is online, or the games I get are all digital. I don't think I've subscribed to a magazine in 20 years. Oh, and like somehow I still get magazines in my mailbox that I haven't subscribed for, but I don't subscribe to magazines anymore. So
I'm surprised I didn't come across this when I was looking for a story because I just grabbed that story about Capcom today, and
yeah, well,
usually Game Informer is one of the first things to pop up because I don't save a bunch of different sources. I search for like video game news or geek news or something differently every week just to make sure I am hitting different sources, instead of just
yeah.
always going to the same ones. And I guess I didn't notice they didn't pop
Well,
up.
this was the we did miss our
Their
episode
site's
last week.
down.
Yeah, we did miss our episode last week. Oh, this was the article I was going to bring up last week because
Yeah,
this was published on the 2nd of August.
August 2nd.
Yeah,
I went
so
down the Friday before that, and they just wham took the whole website down.
yeah,
too.
I mean that's the thing is you go to the website and all that's left is this farewell message. So there's nothing on it anymore. It's completely shuttered. Oh, and it seems to have happened pretty rapidly. It's kind of a sudden shutting down of it. But yeah, I thought this was notable because it's been around for 33 years. And that in any industry like this, especially even with like we were just saying about print in general, that's impressive. Being around for that long for this kind of niche genre of literature or whatnot. So I thought that was notable. It still sucks.
Did you see the last paragraph
Uh,
about MinMax?
I have not.
Okay.
Uh,
Apparently, MinMax was an independent outlet founded by former Game Informer staff caught up in layoffs, and they're organizing a Game Informer archival project in their Discord to help preserve the magazine's decades of work.
Nice.
So I checked it out, and it's just on X. Apparently, it's a X Twitter post by MinMax, MINNMAX, asking people to come into their Discord and help archive this and be a part of history. So
Nice.
if you've got your Game Informers and want to start scanning and uploading articles, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're doing that, but that'd be nifty to be a part of for sure.
I mean, yeah, the first Game Informer magazine was fall of 1991. It had Sonic the Hedgehog on the front of it.
I mean, I'm sure. I'm sure I don't have any. I have a stack of Canadian Livings I've kept. I have a handful of Vogues I've left, and I have some old Dragon and Mad magazines, but I don't think I kept any Game Informers.
Yeah. Yeah, I know for sure that I didn't keep any. I mean, I haven't
I'm
gotten
surprised I didn't find any when I cleaned out this room when my kid moved, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've had again, I don't usually have magazines in general. I haven't for like decades. But yeah. So
My
it's still kinda
mother-in-law
sad.
got me a sub to Canadian Living for a number of years, and it's worth keeping just for tons of recipes. I've got like
Yeah.
an old antique Pepsi box that I keep a bunch in, just
Yeah.
to flip through and find something new to do once in a while.
I mean, I was just trying to think though, like what kind of articles would you even have in a modern day Game Informer? Oh, I mean, like whatever like with the advent of the internet, and people like just being able to post strategies and stuff like that on Reddit forums for, or GameFAQs or whatever, like just being able to post this kind of stuff online on
They
various
always
websites.
had, I would find, like especially whether in the mag or on their website when getting ready for the show, interviews with creators.
Mm.
They always had really good interviews with creators
Yeah, that I could see warranting it. But yeah, other than
and
that,
art, and they'd
Yeah,
answer,
like-
get questions answered. and stuff. Stuff that only
Okay.
happens.
Yeah, that's a good answer to that. But yeah, just wanted to bring that up and how much it sucks. Yeah, despite everything I was saying about being not reading magazines and all that stuff, it still sucks. I mean, there's still other avenues they could have taken, and it just sucks that they've shut down after 33 years of doing their thing. All right. Well, before we get back to work, I wanted to mention our Patreon, patreon.com/PTGcast. If you like what you're hearing and like to help us out with our monthly paychecks, you can go there and drop us $1, $5, $10. It all helps us out, and we appreciate all of it. That is patreon.com/PTGcast. And at some point in time, I will be a little bit more elaborate with my pitch, but that day is not today. Anyways, let's go ahead and get back to work.
Morning break is over. Morning break is over.
All right. So just for the hell of it, I wanted to talk about golf games. Don't know why, but I thought it was a pretty cool theme.
Summer.
Well, yeah, we'll go with that. We'll say that I thought that far ahead, and not just like what 3 games can I put together for a theme. So today we're going to be talking about one of the games that's seems pretty popular out there. That's the most, what I see is the most versatile and probably the most traditional in some senses, is Golf with Your Friends. Love the title of that and just how direct it is. Just, you know exactly what the game is just from the title, just golfing with your friends. Developed by Blacklight Interactive and published by Team 17, which Team 17 has a pretty good track record for games in general. Like they're behind the Worms franchise, which I remember way back in the day we talked about one of the Worms games.
Because the first random place I got was Worms. I'm like, Worms?
Yeah.
I didn't even do the downloadable content. And
Yeah. Because I remember we talked about Worms WMD like
yes,
that was
I
like
love that.
8
That was
years
so
ago or something like
fun.
that. Yeah, that's
Oh
a
my
fun
gosh.
game too. We might have to go back and
Years ago.
yeah, I think that was either 2016 or 2017. Oh, during the original run of the Part-Time Gamers.
I was disappointed that there weren't worms in the Worms level, but maybe I didn't look around carefully enough. Anyway,
But yeah, Team 17 has a pretty good pedigree. So I was actually really glad to see that.
Overcooked too.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have some pretty good games under their belt. I was glad to see that associated with this as well. So it is currently $19.99 for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, but it is $14.99 for Windows and Mac via Steam, and the Windows I'm pretty sure. So we'll get into it a little bit, but it is available on Game Pass. Unfortunately, I do think it's pretty segregated on Game Pass. So like I play exclusively on PC, so I had access to the Windows version of Golf with Your Friends and specifically labeled it as such.
Okay.
So I'll get into it. It's an arcade mini golf game for up to 12 players, so it's really nice that it has that many people that can play at the same time. I do believe it has also like a pass and play version that you can play on one PC or one console or whatever. So you can take your turns individually on the same console.
Yeah, I was gonna make Rob do that with me, but
Yeah.
maybe tomorrow. We didn't get to it. He had to mow the lawn.
Yeah.
But it does have couch co-op on the Xbox. It said it was couch,
Yeah.
and I could choose more players while it was in that mode. So
Yeah. So I know for a fact that you can do multiplayer locally. Oh, so I'm pretty sure you can even do that on PC as well. So I could have my mouse and keyboard. Someone else could have excuse me, can do controller, and we can play at the same time. So one thing that is really going good for this game is just the level of variety that you can play. You can customize, not only can you customize the look of your golf ball and everything, like you can change the color, you can add funny looking hats, you can add patterns and different kinds of trails for where the ball goes. A lot of that is DLC that is paid, so there is a lot of that monetization to it. If you don't really care about that though, like I just have the base version and I just have a regular ass ball. So that's what I got, and I'm okay with that. But it does have those other options as well. Like one that was strangely for free is you can put a duck on top of the ball. It's like you can put all kinds of hats and stuff like that, and
Because
just
you need
makes
more distractions. You're not
Yeah.
only trying to
Yeah.
deal with this weird putt-putt course from hell.
Yeah. Oh, and it's like just going like I didn't play a whole lot, but just looking through the different options and for the different kinds of courses and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that you can do with the courses. Oh, so there's a lot of variety in that. And but you can play the main kind of draw to this is that variety, is that versatility. There are a bunch of different pre-made game modes that each feel a little bit different. Some feel a lot a bit different. So, and it drastically changes how you play. So, like starting off with classic, it's the most basic, most standard version that you can play. You have limits on the number of swings you can have. You have limits on the amount of time you can take for each round. There's also you can do a free cam mode, so you can actually like detach from the ball, look over the course and everything, like try to plan your way
Okay,
through it.
that is wholly necessary to this game,
Yeah, because
in my opinion.
there's some pretty wild shifts, and like you can go through portals. There's black holes in the level I played. There's
Yeah, and I mean, for
gravity
that, like,
changes.
it's the speed cam isn't, or the free cam isn't as maybe as useful as it should be. It's really hard to even see the path.
Yeah.
There is a key combination somewhere in there to determine where the hole is,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's really far away. It took me a while to figure out zooming up and out at the same time to get an overhead, which for some courses just doesn't work great. It's kind of like, okay, I could see the best direction to probably start. I swear I got par and did better guessing half the time instead of trying to follow the green
Yeah.
to get toward the hole. Because the
Yeah.
courses are set up to like work with the obstacles,
Yeah.
which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But to figure out the best way there, like if you don't free cam before you shoot, you don't know where you're gonna end up. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, because
Yeah.
it's not like standing on a course where you can just look around. Really, I mean, the free cam lets you look around,
Yeah.
but also lets you look around really far away where the hole actually is.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is with like classic is they do have that free cam option, but to make it less exploitable, it actually does have a time limit.
Yes.
So it's like, I think it's like 15 seconds per hole or something like that.
Even just the regular random one I was playing 9 holes, it was giving me time limits.
Yeah. And that's kind of a balancing element. So it's like because like some of the fun of these courses is just like, what happens if I do this? Also depends on
Yeah.
like how serious you are about the game. But I mean, that's the thing about
And
this
it's
game.
like I'll get better at that course the next time, kind of like
Yeah.
you would on a real golf course or a real
Yeah.
mini course, because I didn't know what that anti-gravity stuff was going to do
Yeah.
the first
Oh.
time.
I mean, I'm thankful that like the anti-gravity wall or like the gravity shifts that the course I was playing, for the most part, just kind of sent you where you needed to go. There wasn't really a whole lot of guessing. You just needed to get to the wall, and the gravity would reverse or whatever and send you where you needed to go. Oh, but like the one obstacle that I had trouble with were the black holes. Oh, because there were parts of the course where you had to like go up to an elevated platform. So you had to try to like get close enough to the black hole that the gravity affected the ball and like went up, but not so close to it that it just sucked into the black hole. So I'm sure there's there's
There's
like
also
some
a way to
finesse
get
to it. but-
use it as a slingshot, and that
Yeah.
was something I paid attention to the quick tip it gives you there. Use it as a slingshot, and so after my first one went somewhere dumb, I was like, I'm gonna try the slingshot thing, and I found that you could. The course had like 2 black holes, which was also like, oh come on, because if you get past the first one, the second one's gonna get you because you are slowed
Yeah.
down a little. But I found that you could slingshot
Yeah.
by using the jump. Now, jump
Yeah.
is something really weird and unique to this golf game.
Yeah.
But for an obstacle like that, awesome. Because I was like, as long as you catch it, time it right, you can jump out and end up, somewhere
Yeah.
you can shoot from again.
Yeah, like one of the course I played, it didn't have the jump, but it did have occasionally jump or jetpacks. So that was really really funny looking.
Jetpacks took me way too long to get the hold of, or to get
Yeah,
the hang of.
Yeah, because you have to like.
Thought
you have
I
to-
knew what I was doing, and then I was outside the course.
Yeah,
And I was hitting my button waiting to get sent back to the beginning. I was like, oh, I have a jetpack on. Still, like, I don't know.
yeah. So it's like classic mode is like can be the most traditional, but even then it's still very arcadey, which is I think is great. I mean, just playing through just a regular 18 holes of this was still fun. Even just seeing what kind of stuff was going on. It still had me entertained. So I think that's pretty good. But in addition to classic, just they have like 8 or like I think 7 or so different pre-made game modes, including Dunk, where you have jump enabled, and instead of trying to get into a cup in the ground, you're trying to get through a hoop, like an actual basketball hoop. So you have to try to hit it close enough and jump the ball through the hoop. So that adds a little bit of difficulty there. They have hockey mode, which is very similar to classic, but instead of a ball, you have your ball is shaped like a puck. So it's going to probably, I would assume, bounce less up and everything like that. The one that I really want to try out is Speed Golf, which is a more recent mode that they've added, I think this past year. And in Speed Golf, the number of swings doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is who's first to the hole. It's all about time. So, and I'm pretty sure, like default in that mode, you have collision is on, and I think everyone is just golfing at the same time. I think. I haven't
Gee, that sounds more like hockey.
yeah, but like, so you can get some pretty crazy stuff going on here. There's explore mode as well, which that if you really want to learn the courses and everything, you can go into explore mode. There's no limit on the number of swings. There's no limit on the free cam. It's just, you're literally just going in there and just seeing what's going on in the course itself. So that's really the mode. It's like if you want to try to really analyze the course, go into that mode, and you can just kind of free roam to a degree. There's a couple other pre-made modes, but there's also just a bunch of, like, any of these modes, you can just change the options. They have a crap ton of different options that you can choose from to just turn it into whatever you want. One thing that none of these modes touch, which I think would be the funniest part of playing this game with other people, is changing the ball shape.
Jeez.
It's like the first time that I've seen this game played, it was actually from Markiplier and his friends playing through it. And one of the options they had on was that every hole, it would randomly change the shape of their ball. So it's like, and we're not talking about just like an egg shape or whatever. That's one of the shapes, but we're talking like you get stars, you get like acorns, you get, I'm pretty sure there was snowmen in there. It's like you get all these random shapes. You can have a setting so that it randomizes even the size of them as well, if you really wanted to get interesting. I personally think that would be one of the most, like, doing that on Speed Golf, I think would be hilarious.
It's so frustrating though. Like,
But
you mess
that's
with
the point,
physics of
like-
it's so hard.
I mean, that's the thing is like with speed golf, it doesn't matter the number of swings you make. It's just trying to get to the hole.
Right, but some shapes would be impossible to get through some of the obstacles.
But that's the fun.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean,
because it can happen to anyone. It's randomized entirely for everyone. And it's like you can also set it so that randomizes everyone, or it randomizes to the same one for everyone. So you can have it so that like to make it quote unquote fair, you can say it's like okay, everyone
Everyone's the
gets an
same
acorn
handicap.
shape. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you can do that. You can do completely random, which is
I'm
kinda-
unlucky. I would just, it would have to be that, or I would just be always
Yeah.
the one who got the bad
It's like-
shape. You got like a square every time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure like a D4 shape is on there as well. I'm pretty sure I've seen that. Just the random
That's
shapes that you
fun.
get is hilarious. Oh, I personally think that would be one of the better, just hilarity ensues kind of modes. So we're not going to get into every detail of the settings, but you can create your own custom settings as well. There's a lot of variety in those. Like those were some that I think would be the most funny. You can change the number of swings that you have available, the times, all that stuff. Of the games that we're talking about this month, now 2 instead of 3. This one by far has the widest variety of just options. Whether you want to go the more traditional route of classic mode or just go complete chaos, you can do it in this game, and you can do it with up to 12 players, which makes it. That's one thing about all of the golf games that we're talking about this month. They're all actually pretty good party games as well. Because they have, I think this is 12 players. I think the one we're talking about next week, I think is 8 at least. It might be 16. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's a bunch of multiple players as well. It's a surprisingly tight game. It's like the controls are
It
easy.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
For the part-time aspect, I want to say there's a lot of things I really liked. I was playing, like, I could set it to 9 holes by
Yep.
myself. Nice little time killer.
Yeah.
It takes about 25 minutes to play through by myself, get through the course. I started dinner and there was an ingredient missing, and Rob had to run to the store for me. And I was like, and I couldn't go because I just started some rice. And so I
Yeah.
had to, like, all right, cover it up. I got 20 minutes, before that goes off. And I started another round and I was able to, run and shut it off. But yeah, about 25 minutes to play through 8 or 9 holes by myself.
Yeah.
So that's good. And I felt like getting a little better every time I played, whether it was learning the course or the textures. So
Yeah.
it's hard for me to translate in my brain a physical game like this with when you're playing actual mini golf, which I love to do.
Yeah.
You got to feel for like the weight of your putter
Yeah.
or whatever, and how hard you're swinging. And all you've got with this, you've got your direction, and you've got like a bar. It's like, green, yellow, red for how hard you're swinging, but
Yeah.
you have to look at the inclines and try to figure out what you're gonna need to jump and not go too far flying off the thing, or and that's a little hard to translate until you get used to the course. But they also, I felt like it was built in the texture of the green, whether like it was consistent. If it was your normal green lines, checkered,
Yeah.
green, how it would move. And then I got to Candyland, and there was this fruit roll-up looking area, and it was the way the ball moved was stickier, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, these terrains have different textures, and that's going to affect the way how hard I hit next time. and what direction, I hit in if I'm trying to bank off something. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's really, really well done, and it's something that makes me feel like I'm gonna get better if I play more. So I always look for that in a game, right? Like
Yeah.
for replayability, I mean, not only can you play these other modes and make your own, but you feel like you're getting better at it.
Yeah, and even if you're playing through the same levels, even the same courses again, there's so much variety with like I remember the courses I was playing, a lot of them had multiple paths that you could go. And it's like learning there
Oh,
is
I'm sure if I was playing more holes, yeah.
yeah. And there I do agree that there is a learning process to this as well, because even just like you said, just that I didn't even consider the texture of the courses. Like that didn't occur to me. But like for me, the big thing was trying to gauge the power of the swing. It's like, because that's another big factor of it. Because you have, just like you were describing, just kind of a line in front of the ball that, the further you extend it, the more red it gets, basically. And just trying to judge to like figure out, it's like, okay, how much power does this actually mean? And like learning where that level of power is a learning experience in the
And
game.
so there's a lot, like you have to time, like the Worms course has explosions, and one of the black holes has chomps or whatever, like stuff falling, and you have to time to get under something and not hit by the next one and end in
Yeah.
a certain spot because it's there's only gonna be one hole in one shot. So it was complicated enough to stay interesting. And there's something else. Oh, I was gonna say about that. Did you notice, because you were playing like full 18 holes, I was playing
Yeah.
9, that it had something that I find does happen on real courses where like your obstacles get more interesting, entertaining, or rewarding in that respect. Like
Yeah.
the last hole on one of them, it's got that windmill, right? The classic windmill that you have to get through there, but
Yeah.
it's not that hard a hole in one. It's only timing. It's a straight shot, but it's also like at the end of the course. So like you just went through some very infuriating, had to jump things and through hoops to like even get close to the hole, and then be really careful about getting it that little putt in. But like the last hole always seems like it's a little easy, so you don't
Yeah.
rage quit and want to play again.
Yeah. I mean, like definitely the course that I played, the last hole it wasn't a hole in one hole, but it was very easy. There wasn't a whole lot of aiming that you need to do. It was basically just because it was a lot of the, like we were mentioning, the gravity walls and stuff like that. It was a lot of those, whereas it's like, okay, as long as you just get it to the wall, it'll propel the ball where it needs to go. And it's like basically you just go down like 3 levels and then go into like a funnel that shoots it back up and to basically gives you a hole and puts it into the hole after that. So it was a little bit, it was much more elaborate than just the straight single shot to the hole.
But
But
either way, it's that dynamic that they use, that I think on real mini golf courses, and they use in
Yeah.
this game to just, the last one has a little gimme,
yeah,
so that
Yeah.
it's a good idea, because at the course they want you to pay for another round, and in the game
Yeah.
they do want you to keep playing.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, especially going through, like I went through 18 holes. I believe the like volcano level, I think, is the one I went through. And yeah, like it does have that kind of progression of difficulty trying to figure out the mechanics and stuff like that. Like you start off, they introduce the gravity walls, and then it's like later on they introduce the black holes, and then they have vacuum tubes, and then they have teleporters and all this kind of stuff. It's like, so they do get more complex, and they do become more of a problem solving exercise, which I think it works. It's
Yeah, like
I
that
mean,
part.
yeah. So this game, like we said, it's $14.99 on Steam. So one thing that I forgot to mention, I alluded to at the beginning of this conversation, the one part of this game that definitely needs to be worked on is crossplay. As of right now, from what I've researched, there is no crossplay at all. which sucks. Like even if you're playing on Game Pass, if you're playing on console, you can only play with other people on console. You can't play
What
with
the
people on
heck?
PC. So that is the one kind of glaring issue with the game. Oh, but I mean, that's something that can be worked on. Although this game was so when I looked back at the Markiplier videos from when he played this, they were from 7 years ago, and so I the thing is, it was on the Steam page. It shows released as 2020, so it was in early access from 2016, officially released 2020, and still in that time they have not gotten the crossplay functionality fully up and running. So that is one of the glaring marks about this. That being
Hey.
said, what's that?
I do want to interrupt for a second because it's on sale
Yeah.
right now on Steam. Looks like you mentioned the $14.99. It's
Yes.
available for $4.94 on Steam right now.
Which I think is what I got it for. Because
Yeah,
I think
that's worth it.
yeah. Yeah. So if you're at least as of the time of this recording, it is on sale. Now is a great time to get it on Steam. That is probably going to be the most common platform that people are going to be playing it on in general, because even at base price, it's the least expensive. And it's more likely to go on sale, like it is now. And so it's a good time to get it. It's fun. It has its variety. It's probably got the most replayability of the games, of both the games we're talking about this week or this month. So I
So
definitely
how
think it's worth
zero crossplay do you mean? Because
it. Like from what I understand,
like I'm playing on a Mac, can I also not play with you?
well, no,
I
that
buy it
kind
on
of
Steam?
platform. But the thing is, you're playing it on
So
Steam
it's
still,
desktop or console.
pretty much. But the thing is, like, even the Windows version from, I don't think the Windows version from the Xbox app, that can't communicate with Steam.
Gotcha.
So it's like, if you got it on Steam,
boy.
you can play it with anyone else on Steam, whether it's Windows or Mac.
Okay.
If you're playing the Windows version from Steam or from the Xbox app, you can only play with other people from the Xbox app. But even then, you can't play with people on the Xbox on consoles. You can only play. It's segregated that way, I believe. Which again, it's a pretty glaring mark on the game, unfortunately. But the easiest way to get around that is just everybody buy it on Steam. Pretty much it. But
Yeah. But I mean, to make something you have this many players on, come on.
yeah, I mean,
Just
at
let us
this
all play
at
together.
this point, I think most games should be developed with crossplay in mind. Oh, because we do not have that universal. Oh, it's still segregated in some ways. Like, people play on console, people play on PC. Like, again, I play exclusively on PC. I don't have a console other than my Nintendo Switch, which I have a Switch Lite that I won from work a couple of years ago, and I'm not even the one that plays this anymore. My kids have been playing Slime Rancher on it lately. So, which that's actually going to be another game we got to talk about at some point. But yeah, if my suggestion, just get on Steam. That's probably going to be the place with the most players on it. Oh, and it's the cheapest option, even without the sale, which it's on sale. Go get it now. This might legitimately be a game we play for game night at some point. So, but yeah, bottom line, lots of options. Options are always good, even if you only touch half of them. Options are always good. The part-time gamer aspect, like September went through 9 holes in 25 minutes. I went through 18 and maybe 45. And it was still entertaining to just go through the course even by ourselves. So it's well done at what it does. and it has that the room for hilarity to ensue. So I can see why it's been positively reviewed. Oh, so yeah. All right, I think we've covered all of that. So everyone, if you like what you've heard and you'd like to help us out, a couple ways you can do that are you can give us a review over on Apple Podcast. You can follow my Twitch and or YouTube channels for our live recordings. Sunday nights starting at 9:15 Eastern Standard Time for the pre-show. The show proper starts at about 9:30. Or if you'd like to help us out with our monthly paychecks, you can become one of our patrons over at patreon.com/ptgcast. If you'd like to contact us, you can with our email, parttimegamers.cast@gmail.com, or you can join our Discord channel. There's a link to that on my website. Everyone, thank you for listening. Next week, we're going to be talking about another golf game, kind of. We're going to be talking about Turbo Golf Racing. So imagine taking this game and Rocket League, smashing them together, and that's basically what we're going to be talking about next week, which I'm actually really excited to talk about this game because it just looks crazy, and I'm probably going to be terrible at it and not care. Anyways, I'm Sean. You can find this show and the rest of my work and links to my socials, including our Discord channel, my Twitch and YouTube channels, and the Apple Podcast listing using the link bit.ly/CI Productions. Amber, where can people find you around the internet?
The easiest thing to do is go to 9of12.com. That's NINEOF12.com. It'll point you to all my projects. We were going to give a shout out to my husband, Rob, who's currently between jobs. But while he's streaming on Twitch as That Developer Dad. He's also got a link tree and website and all that stuff. So look for That Developer Dad. He's doing software architecture. He's using C# and he's building a random character generator for D&D right now on that. And it's cool and it's fun and you can learn stuff if you're interested in programming or you already know how to program and want to learn architecture and spread the word because he's still looking for a new job.
Yeah, that's actually something that I think would benefit me in general is learning some kind of coding. Because I like the logic behind it. Like back in the day, I used to do scripts and stuff for Excel, like back in high school, like even that far back. I love like figuring out how to put equations together and stuff like that. So that's the kind of thing that I would like to do. Looking at coding, just raw coding right now, I'm just like, this might as well be hieroglyphics. So
yeah, it's a whole series of languages.
Yeah.
And knowing the tools to get them to work together.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely check him out. That Developer Dad on Twitch. Like I said, I've been meaning to get into his channels, just kind of extenuating circumstances at work kind of prevent me at times, but I do want to get into it because, like, especially he's definitely taking it in a good direction with like D&D random character generators. This is stuff that I would want for a D&D campaign. So if I do end up starting a D&D campaign, I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with one D&D. Because that's, I think the 3 main books are supposed to be released by February. I've been wanting to get back into D&D for years now, and I just life just give me a chance to be in D&D. Anyway, That Developer Dad. And you can find Theo's work at swellcast.com/thatoneweirdo and Rabbit in Red Radio. Like I said, give him a little bit of love, give him a little bit of encouragement. He's going through a rough patch right now. We really do care about him. So give him a little bit of love. All right. Until next time, we are the Part-Time Gamers clocking out.